Friends, and welcome to Take Two for this Friday, the 7th of August, 2020. I'm Jeannie. I'm so glad you decided to come along for the ride today. Well, it is Friday, and you know what that means, don't you? Ta-da-ta-da! It's time for my Unsung Hero of the Week. Well, my Unsung Heroes this week are no longer with us on this earth, but they definitely need to be recognized because you see, boys and girls, tomorrow August the 8th is my 63rd birthday. So I think that it would be only fitting for me to make my unsung heroes the two people on this earth who knew me longer than anybody and who gave me life. So my unsung heroes, boys and girls, are the late Frank and Mary Piraino, my mom and dad. That picture was taken on a cruise that they went on some time ago. But you know, I'll tell you a couple of funny little bits and pieces about my mom and dad. Well, first of all, I'd like to just show you this because I just think this is such a cool picture. This is a family picture that we took together when I was about 18 months old, I believe, and my sister's sitting on my mother's lap and I'm sitting on my father's lap, and I'm holding his thumb. That's something I did for many, many years. Instead of holding his hand, I would grasp his thumb. And in that picture, there I am, a year and a half old, grabbing my father's thumb. But you know, both my parents were hard of hearing out of their left ear. So when most children would say mom and dad to their parents, that's what they would call them. That would be the normal thing to do. The normal thing. But jokesters like Fran and I, we decided that we would try to do something kind of funny and kind of poke a little fun at them because of their hearing issues. And a lot of times we'd be saying mom, dad, and they wouldn't hear us. So we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we used different words and see how they respond? So we started calling my parents Gom and Jad. Now we call them Gom and Jad, both of them, until their last days on this earth, which is very interesting because when my mom was in the facility and it was her last day on this earth, which I happened to be there for her, there was a piece of equipment, medical equipment that was alongside her bed. It might have been the oxygen tank or something right there that was right by her bedside. And I looked down on it and the name of it was GOM Enterprises, GOM Enterprises. And I said, how fitting that GOM would have the GOM Enterprise oxygen machine at her bedside. You know, I love my parents very much, and I have to say this, there have been times in our lives with our parents where it was a bit of a rocky road, especially in those last days with my mom, with her going through her cancer journey, and she stayed with us for a while, and she was actually here in Alabama with us when she went through her surgery and when she went through all of her treatments and so forth. And it wasn't always a pretty sight. It wasn't always easy. She could be extremely difficult at times. But I do have to say this. Despite all of that, I think that the best, not to make believe it didn't happen, but instead, in her memory, I'd like to reflect on the good things. Like every August 8th, just about every August 8th of my life, there was either a phone call or some kind of celebration or a card coming through the mail, usually with a check in it. There was always something from my parents, and later, of course, from just my mom, because my dad died 18 years ago and my mom only died 2 years ago. So we had just mom with us, just Gom with us for quite a while there. And I'd like to reflect back on the positives and on the good, and that's probably another take two altogether. But I do want to say this. There were many sacrifices. There was a lot of love. Yes, they didn't always do everything just right. It wasn't 100% ideal 100% of the time. No, nobody's life ever is. But I do know this. I do know that Gom and Jad, you deserve at least a gold star and at least a virtual dozen roses. And that's really good for my mother because her name was Mary Rose. So Gom and Jad, my unsung heroes of the week, I honor you and I remember you fondly. And this is a birthday where there will be no card in the mail. There will be no phone call from them. Those things are not there anymore. But the fond memories Like when I look at a picture like this and I think, now, of course, I don't remember that photo being taken. I was just a little tiny baby. For heaven's sake, I was younger than my nephew Thomas is now. And yet, I do remember some wonderful, fond things. The sacrifices, the love, the good cooking my mother did, the vacations they took us on, the family trips, so many fond memories. So when I reflect back on these two unsung heroes, I want it to be reflections of happy thoughts and happy times. And when I take a bite of my birthday cake tomorrow, I'll lift my fork and I'll remember my two favorite unsung heroes, Frank and Mary Piraino, my mom and dad, my unsung heroes. Not just of the week, but forever and always. Now listen, the way they were to so many, I want you to go out and be a blessing to somebody today, because you may end up being the only one who is. And I'm sure there were times where both of them, both my parents, were a blessing to somebody, and they were the only ones who were. My father worked in the television news industry for many, many years, and there was a lot of backstabbing and a lot of wickedness that went on in that industry, and there were times, I'm sure, where my father showed love to people that nobody cared about or were all being mean to. And likewise, my mother did a lot of things and extended herself with all of her volunteerism and all of the ways that she baked and cooked and sewed for the school costumes for 40 years and all of those kinds of things. So I do honor you, Gom and Jad. Gom and Jad, I love you and I miss you. And you truly are my unsung heroes of the week. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, boys and girls. Jeanne Sigler, Jeanne Sigler. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little notification bell, and I'll notify you every time I post another Take Two. Have a wonderful weekend. And the next time you see me, I'll be a year older. I'll see you on Monday. I love you all very much. Be safe. Flatten the curve. Do everything you have to get on in this world and be a blessing. I love ya. Bye-bye.